Hello and a warm good evening to all of you. Considering the growth of fintech and the role women entrepreneurs have played in its growth in India, we are reminded of the young Ada Lovelace, who compared Charles Babbage's analytical engine to a Jacquard loom and then went on to become the first ever programmer. Fighting all stereotypes, women today are breaking barriers every day. I am your host, Anagha.
And I am Shrija, introducing to you the wonderful and empowering world of women in fintech. Before we open the doors to this world, we would first like to introduce Tether. Who are we?
In a nutshell, we are a fintech, we are fintech enthusiasts, but there's more. Tether was conceived by like-minded individuals with backgrounds in the financial services ecosystem. In addition to being a converging point for all things fintech, Tether is a space to learn and grow. The community also functions as an open forum where participants can reach out to industry experts, making the whole community bigger.
Join the community. Whether you are a fintech startup looking for investors or a fintech enthusiast wanting to stay updated with the latest in the fintech world, Tether is the place to be. Log on to tether.community to join our waitlist and become a member. The link is now available on the chat section of the screen. As a member, you will be able to reach out to industry experts, learn, grow, receive mentorship from leaders, mentorship for funding, opportunity to network with your peers, and access a world of events.
The future of the Indian fintech industry is getting a solid shape with the support of great leaders. Diversity in any industry acts as a solid anchor and a catalyst in bringing significant innovations to life. Tethers by women for women aims at bringing together some of the inspiring women shaping the fintech industry to share their experiences with us, which will hopefully inspire you to get started on your adventure.
Absolutely. So, introducing our speakers for the day. First up, we have Sairee Chahal, who is a serial entrepreneur, mom, angel investor, evangelist for hashtag Women's Internet, and a board member. She currently runs SHEROES, an online ecosystem for women offering support, entrepreneurial and employment opportunities, content, and a community at www.sheroes.com and the SHEROES app and Mahila Money, a community neobank for women. Sairee serves on the board of Milan Foundation, Paytm Payments Bank, and US based Women in Cloud. Sairee is credited with building up an ecosystem to support women in their journeys as entrepreneurs and leaders. Sairee built a strong technology play to solve the problems of gender disparity in India.
Platforms.
Thanks a lot, Sairee. Someone who will also be joining us is Shilpa Karkera, who is the leading AI technology expert and the CEO and founder of Myraa Technologies. She is an IIM Bangalore scholar with NSRCEL, Goldman Sachs recognition, along with her roots in electronics and telecom engineering from University of Pune. Shilpa Karkera has been awarded as the Best CIO for Digital Transformation by Computer Society of India. Besides catering to 9 diverse industries, she is a strategic technologist across 5+ countries and for Fortune 500 companies, and who's also joining us from Bangkok. Lovely to have you here, Shilpa.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure.
Thank you. And we also have Payal, who is a senior manager, solution engineering, who leads a team of high performing solution engineers at Freshworks, who is currently joining us from the US. She spent 16 years in technology with various roles and industry expertise, such as support engineer, implementation of PaaS hardware, lead solution engineer for SaaS products, across a range of companies such as EMC, Eastern Computer, Salesforce, and Gladly. In addition, she leads the Freshworks Women 360 organization as president and founder, where their mission is to inspire, empower, and cultivate a diverse group of women within the Freshworks organization. A very warm welcome to you to Payal.
Hi, everybody.
We are delighted and honored to have such an inspiring panel of women entrepreneurs in fintech, not just joining from across the country, but joining from around the globe. So, without further ado, we would now like to invite our panelists to share a few words with all of us gathering today.
We will take questions from the audience right after our speakers address one and all present here. Request all of you to type in your questions in the Q&A sections on your right. This will then be followed by a really fun quiz. So hold on to your seats for an amazing learning journey. Let me now pass on my virtual mic to Sairee.
Thank you, everyone. It's good to be here, and of course, I think we we have a little bit of what I call the privilege lottery here, because a lot of things have to go right for us to show up for such a vibrant thing to come together. Not only a community of women leaders or fintech as a segment, and of course of all the great things we get to work on as professionals. So super grateful for that. And of course, I think very mindful of uh, very long, hard road for a lot of women before us, and clearly you cited Ada Lovelace, and I think we've come a long way from there. And a little bit about me. Been a founder most of my life, have built products and companies for almost 2 decades now, and of course have seen the ecosystem get richer, bigger, the opportunities get bigger every few quarters, actually every few years. The pace of change is accelerating around us, and of course a lot of uh, how we all arrived here is also a lot of macros playing out in our favor, which is uh, a lot of Indians getting onto the Indian internet for the first time. Especially that holds very true for Mahila Money, a neobank for women we launched, and the women we work with are, you can call them first time internet users. You can look at them as uh, Sri Devi from English to English. Basically, women who are super aspirational, who are all across the country, but want more from life, want more social success and financial success in their lives. And clearly, a lot of stage setting was done before some of what we are doing could play out. And so today we're building Mahila Money as a platform that serves the aspiring women out there. Most of them are entrepreneurs, and if you look at India's women in workforce data, we keep going down every year. The pandemic pushed a lot of women out, and what that ended up doing is, pretty much like mainstreaming of Shark Tank. Everybody knows and thinks that entrepreneurship is a real deal. Whether it's a very small business that they run or a potentially large one, there's a lot of entrepreneurship hustle in every uh, part of the country, and I think women are the newest addition to this hustle. uh, Estimates say that there are about 130 million women in this country who do something entrepreneurial, which means they don't have a corporate job, but they run a beauty parlor on the corner, they run a yoga studio, they run maybe a tailoring service. We all know, at least 50 of these women in our phone book. We use their services. We just don't call them entrepreneur. They don't get invited to panels, and VCs don't fund them. But they're still entrepreneurs. They take they bring their hustle to the table, but they're also building a business. And that's the woman we support at Mahila Money. How do we support her? One is, of course, it's very hard for her to find capital. The traditional banking ecosystem is very set for asset owners, and we know all asset owners in this country are men. And of course, we also know that there is a lot of invisible barriers. Moment you go to a bank and you don't have your own income, then they'll say go bring your family or things like that. So that's the person we are solving problems for by building like an entire platform, and we can get into it, but that's a little bit context from where I come from.
Thank you so much for that, Sairee. Thank you for enlightening us with ground level realities, or ground level examples rather, and some small pop culture references also. I think that helps us in understanding the emotion behind setting up Mahila Money and SHEROES itself. And thank you so much for that, for starting today's webinar off with beautiful words. I think, Shrija, now it's time for our next speaker for the day. So over to you to introduce.
Absolutely. So our next speaker for the day is Payal. And Payal, we have a question for you. Payal, how do we break the stigma that men dominate fintech industry, or in general the tech industry as well?
Great question. I think I kind of admire what was just said by Sairee, because I think there has been a shift. We are seeing more women in all sectors, whether it's fintech, whether it's tech, and this transformation I think is important. And I think we need to lead the way, and we should all encourage more women into technology, engineering fields. We should also lean into these roles and start thinking about how we can also just be as successful. And I think the simplest things that we can do is encourage other women in our workplace to grow and develop them. And that's honestly why I was so happy to start the Women 360 program at Freshworks, because this is one of the places where we can get them to all network. I don't know how many women always, especially in tech, you may feel less confident sometimes. You may have the imposter syndrome. You may feel less suited at times because you are surrounded by a lot of men. And I think we can break that stigma by playing an active role and being in these roles. And organizations where we can have women that get to network with each other, learn from powerful women like we are doing today, I think is how we elevate women into the tech industry and start to break that stigma that is out there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Payal. And I think you talked about women supporting other women, and today's talk by women for women actually in its core also kind of translates to that. So thank you so much. Over to Anaka.
Yes, thanks, Shrija, and that was quite insightful, Payal. I think even our audience will have a couple of questions on that also, and furthermore questions about breaking biases as well. So, audience, before I move on to the next speaker, I would request all of you to, if you have any questions in between when our speakers are saying something, please to put it on the Q&A section, and right after our speakers address the gathering, that's when we will start taking a couple more questions as well. So with that, let me request Shilpa to address the gathering. So over to you, Shilpa.
Thank you, Anaka. I have a small presentation for you all so that I share two stories with you all of my journey that could be of help. And it's great that I'm here with the community, that brings us all here together. And really a treat to hear from you, Sairee, and Payal as well. Like I've been following about SHEROES long ago, so it's been a part of my journey to I've taken inspiration from such initiatives myself. So I'm going to share what I have done in my journey, and that's about building Myraa Technologies, an AI and blockchain solutions company. We started it from finance, and we are across 11 industries: wealth, healthcare, supply chain, trade, manufacturing. And so basically, I'm a techie, a developer, started from developing things hands-on, and made sure after developing how can I make impact with what I've developed. And that's what was about founding Myraa Technologies. So apart from Myraa Technologies, I'm also the CTO of a London-based company called Art Browser, and currently working on a project that's called Usha Renal Care Foundation, which I'll talk later as well. I'm also a part of the global Goldman Sachs top 20 fellowship, and that has been a huge part of my journey. And I stress on these points because communities have brought all of this, this kind of openness for such infrastructure. And I hope you all are also able to, leverage communities, and Tether being one. I think you all should definitely make sure that we all like have a much more connected world with such communities. And in this journey, I was able to get recognitions from, research organizations as well as financial companies and tech companies as well. And you can see a maritime as well as media. So these were the recognitions that came across in the journey. So, like, I'll tell you all how we started from fintech, because finance, money touches every industry, right? And forget like the terms of industries. Think about how finance touches us in our day-to-day lives. And there are many problems there. Like before the pandemic, eKYCs were not very common here in India back then. And uh, and there were problems with getting loans that quickly, or like doing the documentation, doing the paperwork. And in our solution journey, we saw those problems, we saw like customers facing that. And that is why we were a part of solutions of automation, like for OCRs, for video eKYCs, for automating with chatbots, and building better recommendation engines. So with that, our mission was to just solve problems when we started. So that's what we did. So I have two stories, just to be making it very like short and brief, of two experiences that could help everyone here. So one was fintech and mixing it with different industries. And that involves how I started, like from that kid who just need to bounce and like to solve problems, to break the toys and build, to becoming somebody who was globally connected. I was active in meetups, communities, contributing, showcasing what I could do so that I could be useful to other people. That was the simple foundation, I think, of my journey. I didn't come from very branded colleges back then, and I earned all of them in this journey myself. And like I think, as I think Sairee earlier mentioned, that the banks and the loans at the age of 24, you cannot go and say like, okay, you're building a product and I'm here to found this particular vision, and probably go and raise, because you've not like built a lot of work, more like a lot of industrial experience as well. So at the age of 24, when I wanted to found a company, I went and showcased the tech expertise that I had. And I built a solutions company, because for me, like from my entrepreneurial journey, that I could survive for so long was because my revenues were flowing in like from day one. That is by providing services, solutions actively. And we worked hard to study about all industries, like from like manufacturing, oil and gas, aircraft, maritime. And we saw how my learnings of fintech, like because I was a developer before in the fintech space, how I could use that in different industries. So, for example, I was building trading engines, and there were like a lot of models that we used to build on the trading platforms. Now, I could use this knowledge in another industry to build a better incentivization model for people who are working inside the factories. So, that kind of cross pollination helps. So, if you're, in a particular journey, you have to go and internalize and find out what you could really leverage from your works, and use it up. And second, I think, is cash flow is really key. So if you're not getting funded, if you're not getting like loans as well, then go and figure out how you can make value out of your services and solutions. That keeps your autonomy 100%. And I say this to a lot of young founders, because the funding journey I also did at the age of 24, and I did get a lot of rejections, and that's okay. But the part is that you can keep continuing, and you can keep earning, because even after you get fundings, you still have to bring your revenues, right? So I think that's one of the key things that I would let everybody know. Like if you're working somewhere and you aspire to also have an entrepreneurial journey, be intra-entrepreneurial inside your organization, showcase that you can do 10x more as well, and showcase it out to the world. Speak to more and more people, communicate, and build a portfolio of proof of work of your own, so that that value will still stay with you, and you'll run strong, in your entrepreneurial journey. So that was about the first story, and with that strengths, we built all these solutions. So we built like payout channels for banks as well, and like we created a network for like agents to work on as well, and we digitized letter of credits for better trade finance. One more interesting part that's coming up is also like in the smart contract space. So right now, I'm very sure like where there are businesses who keep following up with customers sometimes for payments and delayed payments and stuff. So imagine if there's a smart contract that like auto triggers transaction, then obviously life would be a lot fairer. So we build such things in the journey, and it has been really fulfilling to know people's pain points and then build so like a problem solving mindset with a focus on the customer's need first, more than just because you're interested in a particular area. So that was our approach all last 6 years. The second story is towards fintech and healthcare, and that's very close to my heart. I founded Usha Renal Care Foundation, which is to basically accelerate medical discovery. So we connected clinical trials to patient profiles, and right now that's like a Web3 world that's going to like connect all stakeholders. And every time your data is used in medical research, you get incentivized for it. So that's what we're doing. And again, there's a fusion of fintech and healthcare. So, for example, imagine if you're going to donate blood, or you're donating your data, or you're going and taking your blood test, and the data is not completely owned by you because you don't control it. But if a platform lets you, incentivize on it, includes and allows more people to gain the benefits of a better research and access to better healthcare. So that's the second journey that is going on. So making impact, that really goes a long way, because entrepreneurship will only survive when you can commit to something really long term. And for me, this is very close to my heart, because I founded this on the memory of my late mother, who was a renal patient, and I saw her fight all these struggles in the medical care, and I wanted to make sure that all my learnings from that could be used for a lot of other people. So choose an initiative that you can commit to for a very long run, because burnout happens, and that's why usually companies close. So the oil that you need is to find out something that's close to you, that rings a bell, and that lets you survive the hardest of the challenges. So I think these are the points that I think I would like to share out of my journey with you all. And there's a book called Unlocking Blockchains on Azure, if you wish to hear more such stories about how I innovated in different industries. And I've written in different walks of life, very relatable, and to understand how cutting edge, big jargons, and how it connects to you in your daily life. So do check out, and do actively put out your works, contribute to the community, and showcase it to the world, and make your dreams come true. So that's from me, and thank you for having me.
Lovely. Thank you so much for that, Shilpa. That was, I can say it was a power-packed presentation. And like very recently, even I donated blood. And I was thinking like we have to initially fill out the forms, etc. How many times have you donated? And it was always the memory and everything. So I actually resonated with that. And so thank you so much for sharing both of your stories with all of us. Now, while our audience is actually thinking about different questions, I have one question for all of you panelists, actually. Here, all three of you, Sairee, Payal, and Shilpa, all three of you spoke about some of the barriers that you face, some of the ways in which you came out of it as well, be it funding, be it any sort of ideas, problem solving, or even community. So that's what we spoke about. I have a question more from a gender point of view. So have you in your journey, have you faced barriers with respect to gender preferences or gender roles itself? If so, how were you able to come out of it? Or if you're still struggling with it, how is it that that you're going through that, and what is your experience of it? Something, if you can share your barriers, especially with respect to these gender based ideas or gender based barriers, is what I would want to know. Yeah. Sairee, I believe you're muted. Yes.
Yeah. So, well, barriers are for real, and I think they can't be looked at in isolation. It's like even if one person is unsafe, we all are unsafe, right? Safety is like one of those things. Trust is like one of those things. Empathy works in a similar way. So I think these are very core values, and these are also very core experiences. And while by virtue of our own privilege, maybe some of us are a little insulated from what it looks like, but it is true that most women end up facing a lot of visible and invisible barriers. They could be as simple as not having inheritance. A family has a boy and a girl, and the boy gets all the assets. And we all know families where this has happened many times over. Or, for example, uh, what I call the pink tax, right? Women end up paying more for having to avail the same service because we need better quality of safety or trust, or all of that. Third is just at an individual level, we all know less than 2% of funding goes to women. All out of all venture funding, women get only 2%. So all those 100 unicorns you saw, we saw one Nika go out there last year, and we still have a long way to go home there. And we clearly have our work cut out. And none of these barriers are, they are not watertight barriers. So what transpires from a safety point of view for a woman who, let's say, lives in a small town, and it's unsafe for her to walk to her college because it's dark or dingy, or there are people who make her feel uncomfortable. That experience gets compounded as it reaches us, right? So we will, some of us will protect us better, but the overall gap continues to exist in a mega way. And at some point it shows up when we see announcements of cabinets. It shows up when we see panels full of men. It shows up when we see our annual workforce metrics. It shows up in many ways. So what may look like that I haven't faced barriers, actually we all have. We just are not counting them, and we're just trying to make sure we get on with it. And second is the system is uh, is set up for all of us. So whether we consume it or not, it's out there. So when we think of very, very stark stories of trust, safety, access to employment, access to income, you still hear news about the first, right? The first woman in Navy, the first woman in Army. We're still crossing those barriers. We're still crossing many of the firsts. So every year on Republic Day, you see the series of first. Yes, it's great to celebrate, but it just is a pointer on how much of this journey is still left to cover for us. And of course, at an individual level, uh, a lot of women we serve today come from small town India. They come from regular middle class families. They come from, if you will, if I may say, Dangal kind of families, or English kind of families, or Bareli ki Barfi kind of families. It's, and I always feel that I come from one of those families, and I just got lucky and got out and got to do a lot more of what I'd like to do in life. But it's in spite of the system and not because of the system. And I think the change we want to make is to fundamentally think about the system so that it works equally efficiently for everyone. And it is not impossible. It has been achieved. It's been achieved by countries in Scandinavia. It's been achieved in countries like New Zealand and Australia and elsewhere. So it's a playbook, and we got to build our own playbook and get there. But it will continue to be there for each one of us, whether we are cognizant of it or not. It is there in one way or another.
Got it, Sairee. So I really like the part where you said we'll be doing it in spite of the system, not for the system. So that thank you so much for that bit. Payal, we have a question from the audience for you. So Bhuvaneshwari is asking, can you tell us about how the birth of Freshworks Women 360 happened, or what led to it? So we'd want to know the story behind this act, Payal. So over to you.
Sure. So I joined Freshworks about 3 years ago, and there was actually only like 5 women at that time. And I'm part of the North America region. Even for North America, that is actually a small percentage of women. And this was across the company. So in again, North America, India has a bigger team. But when we grew in the following year, so one of the great things that our CEO has done is he has taken on that women, we need to diversify, and we need to bring diversity into the companies that we promote. So G is very good at putting his stake into bringing more women into the organization. And between 2019 and 2020 and up until now, we've actually, I would say, quadrupled how many women are in the organization. It's about 150. So back in 2019, we started to see a big group of women join, and we were like, well, we got to find a way to get each other together. 1, to support each other. 2, to like create networking events. And I thought a lot of the things that Sairee said about how do you break the barrier, it's about promoting yourself, having mentors to also guide you in your own journey throughout the process. And we, as part of us getting together, we also built a lot of core mentor programs to have executives within the company, whether they were male or female, mentor the women in the organization as well. So it started as a small idea. I have seen it in my past companies that I was a part of, and I was inspired by what those women were doing. And that inspired me to start something at my current company. And it's taken off, and I think a lot of people find value from it, and I hope it continues to grow. We also just launched our India chapter recently. So the women of India are taking advantage of these programs as well, and getting to network with one another.
That is great to hear. And, thank you for covering on the unbiased gender biases as well. Shilpa, I have a question for you though. We were speaking about young startups, right? You were also speaking about there would be rejections for sure. Now, coming back to the diversity and inclusion sort of a topic here, would you have any recommendations or any views or any suggestions for these young startups in order to build this environment, build a safe environment, like how Sairee was telling us before. So build a safe environment for the women entrepreneurs or women in fintech to flourish. So any thoughts or ideas from your end?
So I think I would say leverage technology in ways that it can become more equitable. So for example, remote working does allow that to happen to a great extent, like with like flexibilities of work. Now, for this, there has to be a leadership, focus on changing how work is allocated very clearly. If they are able to do that, then deliveries can come from people anywhere and everywhere, and women can be a part of it. So I think that has to come inside project management or deliveries of work. And then obviously there are remote tools to like go and deliver. So I think breaking that notion that, you need all of them inside your office and, sitting like 9 to 6, killing your body sometimes and just being there is not needed sometimes. So I think that can happen for like many organizations, and startups particularly have been leveraging being remote as well very actively, and they've adapted very well as well. So similarly, I think everybody can, and technology can play a huge role. So even if your organization doesn't do that, you can always recommend these are the ways that I can work with, and I can give my deliverables every day or in particular structure, and probably be incentivized for it. So I think payment models could also get evolve. We are like long way to there, but I think tech tools and ways to deliver could get better through that, and that could bring in more inclusion as well.
So step by step is what you're saying, Shilpa. Thank you for that. And from one of our community members here, Arun Sriram, we have a question to Sairee. How would you compare journey on development of SHEROES versus Mahila Money? So again, we're going back to stories and doing a quick comparison of stories here. So over to you, Sairee.
Well, with SHEROES, a lot of our focus was investing in the community. I think there is a playbook that has existed in the offline world. Women-only communities have done exceptionally well in India. The success of microfinance happened because it was built on back of local communities. Uh, and for last many years, we've been investing in SHEROES as a community, which is a safe space, but there's a lot of tangible support. You can get a free counseling session. You can get a lot of other other forms of support. Over 3 million women have used a free counseling session, and it's literally like just a small feature on the SHEROES app. But it has a huge viral effect because when women get help, they go tell their friends, and that's how the community has grown to about 24 million women. And what that means is there is inherent trust. All these are women who, once they have received the help, are in the paid forward mode. And that's the ripple effect of a community, of a good community. It happened with maybe Amul many years ago, but that was all offline and scalability was hard. And of course, the other things that women end up doing on the SHEROES platform is remote work. We run a business around remote work. It's a workforce on cloud model. The platform does a lot of heavy lifting, and these are not small freelance jobs. These are regular corporate jobs, but we take the pain of interface between a lot of women who live in small town India and may not be on site. And of course, I think pandemic helped the cause a little bit there. We also have what we call Shop on SHEROES, which is our community marketplace. You could go online, set up a store, get a personalized payment link, and your own catalog in less than a minute. So taking away the pain of going digital, uh, along with discovery and go to market. Market linkages are very important for entrepreneurs. So we've been working in that space. Uh, and of course, with Mahila Money, it's far more specific to solving for credit and capital needs for most women. While we are a full stack fintech platform, solving for the access to capital is a big question for us, and we're constantly building products around that. We also have other products. We recently launched a prepaid card, which is very specifically built around women entrepreneurs who have a bank account but don't want to use it because of stigma or friction issues or something else. So this is a means for them to collect payments and make payments and things like that. Uh, and then, of course, we do the whole stack. For example, we've recently launched a fun healthcare product. It's a $1.25 for a gynec checkup, and you get an insurance cover along with it. So we're doing very, very uh, focused innovation around one, women of this country in every part of the country practically, and second is building the whole piece around there's a community. You're most welcome. Get help, hang out, share your stories, ask questions. Like, I think women have asked 66 million questions. So there's at least 2.5 questions per user, broadly. So a lot of that trust building has happened. And then there's employment, there's entrepreneurship and access to capital. So we say that if we do our job right and we do it for a longer horizon, not 2 years, 3 years, think of it for 2 decades. This might have a ripple effect of one, impacting 100 million women directly via any of these instruments, and secondly, hopefully increasing women's contribution to the GDP. And there is a lot of financial capital and social capital that's being built here.
Thanks so much for that, Sairee. Okay. Uh, Our speakers majorly spoke about community today, so let me remind all of you once again: if you're not part of the Tether community, make sure that you join that as well, because from the experience of our speakers, definitely community is something that strengthens all of us. And with that, I would like to thank all of our speakers on behalf of the audience, my co-host Shrija, and the entire Tether community for taking their time out from different parts of the world today, right? And you have shared your experiences, shared your stories with all of us. Thank you so much, and you've passed on the adventure as well. Hopefully, a lot of people from our community will be able to take on that baton and go forward in the journey. And any closing thoughts from any of you, and then we'll move on with our quiz.
I think I'll add here. Like, I think it is totally a treat to hear Sairee and Payal, and I think it's inspiring. And the inspiring thing is like viral, right? Like, so it's beautiful to be here, and thank you for having me. And really a treat to hear amazing stories, and it's very valuable in my journey. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Shilpa. Thank you, Sairee. Thank you, Payal.
Thank you,
Great to have
everyone.
all three of you here.
Thank you. And just wanted to say, please feel free to reach out if there's anything I can help with.
I'm sorry to hold all of you back. There's one last question on the Q&A. So we'll just take that in and then we will wrap up this Q&A session though. So Shilpa, this question is for you. What can startups do to foster growth and participation from tier 2 and 3 cities of India or generally globally? So that's a very pointed question here. So any thoughts from your end?
Yeah, I think simply like proof of work, like create your proof of work from wherever. So it does, location should not be a constraint in terms of, who you know or you do not know. Because when I started, I didn't know anybody personally. So create proof of work in a way that you can show it to people. So I think tier 2, 3, and I think even if you're in colleges, they give you projects. Don't do those projects, for the sake of it. Build something that you can show. And when you show it to the people, and how do you show it? By joining communities. When you join communities, you show it to many people. Probably apply to speak. There are places where you can go and speak as well. So PyCon is one of them that happens globally, and they sponsor you to even travel and cover you. So go and speak and show your work, like, and show what you've done. It could be a very small thing, it could be a big thing, doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter where you are, then location would not be a constraint. So I think use the power of the internet. The world doesn't really, check where you are. They want to see what you can do. So I think break that thought that you're here and you're constrained, and really leverage the internet. Luckily, I think the internet infrastructure has gotten better. Not, I think could get better, but I think it is getting better, way better. So I think leverage and make sure you establish your presence on LinkedIn at least, and showcase your works. I think showing your work will just take you way places.
Thank you, Shilpa. Thank you for that. Looks like we have another question. So this is for Payal, though, since you are majorly from the North American sector. So there's a question about what is the difference between Indian and US fintech ecosystem, and what are your thoughts on that?
I'm even as I'm hearing the conversations today, I'm noticing I'm an American-born Indian. My family is from India, but I was born in America, and hearing the journeys that both Sheree and Silpa have been through are probably very different from mine. Although I still had gender biases and all of that, so I think the industry and the ecosystem of how many women are in the industry is still very similar, even though we're so in two globally different places. Where we're all starting from and all the challenges that we're probably facing are very similar. I think it's different from a perspective of how we go to market, how we sell to customers, how we think about our customer base. But regardless of that, I think there are still some of the same barriers that we all talked about today. And I couldn't agree more about how important community is. And I honestly knew nothing about Tether till they reached out to me. So learning about Tether has also been incredible to me because I love the idea of things that bring women together to collaborate across waters, right? This is to know that I'm getting to speak with other women that are in India and getting that first glance of how that is exceptional. So I will say I learned a lot today, and it's incredible for me to learn so much from these amazing women as well.
That's great to hear, Payal. Thank you for that. One question, this is open for all. Deepika is asking us, being a finance professional, how do we get into tech and understand the same? So that's some sort of guidance that Deepika is seeking us. So finance and then getting into tech and understanding the same. Open to all the speakers. Please, Sairee, please.
All right. So first of all, not a finance professional or a tech professional, but have worked in tech all my life. Actually, I went to JNU and did an MPhil in international relations and dropped out of my PhD, and but got to build my first product right there. And right, that's the reason I dropped out of PhD, because of my first startup. So I think the best way to make the transition is to get your hands dirty and sign up for a volunteer project. Go help somebody build a startup. Uh, there's tons of learning online. I think that's not something that uh, I need to tell you, but uh, the best way to learn something is on the job. So ask for a seat on a rocket ship. It could be a fintech company, it could be a tech company, it could be somebody who needs your skills. If you're a finance professional, you want to get into tech. I mean, look at us. We're all women who come from technology, and fintech is probably the most exciting sector to build products in, because there are some hard, real problems to be solved for billions of users there. So we're sitting on a really massive opportunity, and careers get made when you're riding a wave, when tailwinds are happening. There's none of us who can fight any of the big wave, right? So, and right now is a good time to get a seat at the table. It doesn't matter which seat. Send in emails, tweet to people. Get yourself some FaceTime. But yeah, just hack your way through it.
I actually love what Cherie said. I think trying different things in technology is the best way to do it, because I started as a developer, didn't want to be behind a desk to develop, and tried something else that got me into technology and continued my journey. So I think experiment is key. Find where your passion lies, and once you find that passion, continue to focus on it.
I'd like to add that blog it through. So when you're trying different things, start writing about it as well and let people see that you're trying these things. So probably somebody would find value out of it. And at the same time, you have a discipline for an outcome of all your trials as well. So I think that would close the outcome.
I think we have a lot of ideas that have come in today. Pretty sure our audience is inspired. One question, I think I will stop at this. I know I've been saying one question for a very long time, but since this is this is from a volunteer basically. So this is a small volunteering team, and they're planning to bring in women to be part of it. All 6 of them are male, so they're planning to bring in women to be part of it. How do we get the community to be receptive to women being part of it, is what Mr. Varadarajan is asking. So any thoughts from any of the speakers here?
There's no reason why women wouldn't want to be part of it. I mean, our team is practically women. We also have a lot of women who volunteers as mentors and champions to the community, and I'm sure this is just a matter of putting it out there. So send us information, we'll tweet it out, we'll put it out there, and of course I'm sure it's just a matter of discovery more than women not wanting to do it. I think we just have to sort of plant it where women are.
Looks like we're back to leveraging the community as the founding emotion or the fundamental emotion here. Yes, I think one of the questions that was directed at Sairee is something that has been answered by you already. You did speak about micro entrepreneurs and different stories through it as well. So, Pavitra, I believe Sairee has already answered your question. And with that, we will officially, close the Q&A session here. And again, let me thank all of our speakers for being part of today's By Women for Women webinar. This is by the Tether community. And thank you for inspiring all of us with your stories, your experiences, your ideas, and your suggestions as well. Thank you so much for joining us here. But audience, please hold on. We still have a journey with all of you. Let us give a little bit of time for our speakers to maybe exit the stage, and then we will start. So thank you so much, all speakers.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Over to you, Shrija.
Thank you so much. Again, super inspired by that discussion that we had today. Learned a lot of things, especially about the fintech space in India and around the world globally as well. So, audience, please stay seated on your seats. Don't go anywhere. Now that we are inspired by the amazing women, let us know a few more through a really fun quiz. So, over to Anagha to read us the instructions on how to join this quiz and play it.
Absolutely. This is a Tether by Women for Women quiz for all of you. Let's look at the instructions. Let's move on. Right. We will be playing this quiz on a platform called Kahoot. And so I will give you the instructions for that. And you will have to give all of your answers on Kahoot itself. Nothing to do on chat here, right? If you get logged out of Kahoot, don't worry. You can join with the same name. If it doesn't take the same name, you can just add a numeric number right after it, and you'll be done. Yes, ensure that you have two devices. That is, one device is already that you've joined the AirMeet, right? And the other device is basically, say, your phone. Or actually, you can also use another tab. But I would say just for seamless experience, use another device. That's it. And it'll ask you for a game pin first. All that you'd have to do is go to your browser and type in www.kahoot.it, and it'll basically take you to a page where it'll ask you for a game pin. Hold on to your seats. I'll show you the game pin in just a bit. And right after that, it'll ask you for a nickname. All that I'd want all of you to do is please give your actual name so that we can track back to you, because there are a lot of goodies as well. So hold on, this quiz will also give you a lot of goodies. So yes, how do you get these goodies is basically Kahoot works like this, where it declares a leaderboard immediately, right? And that is based on both speed and accuracy. So make sure that you hit the right answer as quick as possible. There will be three different kinds of questions. One is a direct question, your classic Kaun Banega Karodpati style, where there is one question, four options, and you choose whichever is right. Okay, and there'll be a timer, so make sure you punch in the answer before the timer runs out. Then the other one is called type answer, wherein you basically have to type in the characters and then click on submit. Varadarajan has a very interesting question here. I can Google, right? Yes, you can Google, but then you will be losing out on time. So your score on the leaderboard will go down. Very interesting question, but that will just be a hindrance to you. Then the other one is basically true or false. There'll be a statement. Before the timer runs out, make sure that you hit either true or false. Right? With those instructions, I think it's now time for us to jump to our Kahoot screen. Hope all of you are ready with your kahoot.it. You've gone to your browser and you clicked on kahoot.it as well. There's no need to download any app and all. All that you would require is your browser only. And then it'll ask you for a game pin. Hold on, I will give the game pin in just a bit. There you go. That's the game pin. I'm putting game pin on the chat box as well, so that it will be there for you. right? And the game pin is 7535461, and there is no gap in between. It is 7535461, right? Yes, I see a lot of you joining in. Make sure that you give your full name, like as in your actual name, not your nickname. Super. We'll wait for a couple more minutes and then start off. If anybody is facing any difficulties, do let us know so that we can help you out here.
You can post your questions on the chat and we'll try our best to help you out. The game pin is available on the chat. So please do join in as quickly as possible. We have some really cool questions about some really cool women to inspire us some more today.
Totally. I'm excited about all these stories, especially after hearing Sairee, Shilpa, and Payal's stories, right? The questions that we have, which has so many more such stories, right? I'm definitely excited, Shrija. We already have about 19 of you who have joined in. Quickly join in, folks. All that you would have to do is go to your browser. It can be Chrome, Safari, Google, anything, and type in www.kahoot.it. That is it, not .com. If you go to .com, it'll ask you to make a quiz, so no need to do all of that. Go to kahoot.it and it'll ask you for a game pin. It is 7535461. No gap between 3 and 5. Just enter it as it is. It'll ask you for a nickname. Go for your actual name so that we can track you back, and then click on enter. Then you'll be ready. We already have 22 of you who are here. Okay.
And please do join in because there is a podium in the end where you can see where you stand. So if you want to see yourself at the top, if you are competitive like that, then please do join in as soon as possible.
Right. In the interest of time, let us start off. We will not be locking the game. Don't worry. You can join in between also. Over to you, Shrija.
Thank you, Anagha. And here is the By Women for Women quiz. And the first question is on your screen, everyone. Which mobile phone based payment platform and digital wallet was founded by her and Nipin Preet Singh in 2009? By her, we mean the person in the photograph here. Is it MobiQuick? Is it Freecharge? Is it PayU? Or is it BillDesk? So you have four options. Take your guesses, less than 5 seconds remaining. And let's take a look at the correct answer. And yes, MobiQuick is absolutely the correct answer. 10 of you getting it absolutely right. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. Yes, so with that question, here is the scoreboard. In the first place, we have Bharata, followed by Ash, Tanuja, Bhavna, and Vriddhi. And do you see the points there? They're neck to neck.
Yes, and with that, we're already moved on to our second question. This is a true or false question. Meghna Suryakumar, founder and CEO of CrediWatch, is an alumnus of Columbia Law School. Is this true or is this false? Very simple question. Just two options, so the probabilities of you getting the answer right would also be more. And your time is up. Well, this is true. She is an alumnus of Columbia Law School. Meghna Suryakumar is the founder and CEO of CrediWatch. Let's take a look at the scoreboard, how we're all faring. Ooh, this is very nice. Tanuja is now leading the scoreboard, and Anurag is the highest climber, up 3 places. Good going, folks. Keep it up, keep the spirit up. And with that, let's move on to our next question.
Here's the next question. Who co-founded Zest Money in 2015 along with Priya Sharma and Ashish Anantharaman as a consumer lending fintech company? The options are, is it Sheryl Sandberg, Lizzie Chapman, Marissa Mayer, or Mary Barra? So take a look at the picture and try to remember or recall who this person is, and you might get the answer. And yes, 8 of you getting it right. It is Lizzie Chapman. And let's take a look at the scoreboard real quick. Okay, some drama here at the scoreboard. Varata is now in the lead, followed by Tanuja, Bhavna, Ash, and Manisha. Up 14 places, Rajendran is the highest climber.
That's a good leap, I would say. And with that, here's our fourth question. Which social impact company was founded by her, the one in the picture, to address financial inclusion for marginal entrepreneurs in India? Is it Dastak Capital? Is it Kagar Capital? Is it Tirth Capital? Or is it Kinara Capital? Less than 5 seconds to go for marginal entrepreneurs in India. Yes, this is Kinara Capital. Kinara, as a word in Hindi itself, means the banks, the ends, the margins of sorts. So that was your major clue there, which is marginal entrepreneurs. So this was Kinara Capital. And with that, Varada is still leading the scoreboard, but we have Bhavana, Joe and Rajesh saying, hey, we are not too behind. And we have Surya Sharavanan, who's the highest climber, up 8 places. That's a pretty good, leap there. Good going with that. Next up.
Here's the next question. Priyanka Kanwar, co-founder and CEO at Kite, was among the first to study the impact of the DBT. Your job is to expand DBT. Is it dialectical behavior therapy? Is it double blind testing? Is it direct benefit transfer? Or is it design, build, and transfer? What is the full form of DBT? And yes, 8 of you getting it absolutely right. It is direct benefit transfer. And with that, here is the scoreboard. Varata sitting tight in the first place, followed by Tanuja, Bhavna, Joy, and Michael. Up 9 places, Surya is the highest climber.
Completely agree with you, Varada. Too much drama is going on. And with that, here's the next question. Mabel Chaco co-founded Open for SMEs and Startups. This was the first neo-banking platform in which continent is all that I'm asking. So your options are Europe, Asia, Africa, Oceania. So in which continent was this the first neo-banking platform to be opened? 15 of you giving the right answer. That is Asia. We had given a lot of other options to confuse you itself, and very good job. You all held on to your guesses. Let's take a look at the scoreboard right now. Wow, we have Michael, who is now in top 5, making a debut there, and Varada has a highest streak with 6 correct answers in a row. Superb job, folks. Moving on to our next question right now.
Here's the next question. With which month, the first of the Hindu calendar, does the founder of this fintech startup, the logo of which is pictured here, share her name? Is it Chaitra? Is it Bhadra? Is it Asvina? Or is it Kartik? So take a look at the logo and try to recall what is the name of the founder. Less than 1 second to go. And yes, 7 of you getting it absolutely right. It is Chaitra. And as the clue mentioned, the first of the Hindu calendar, the first month of the Hindu calendar is also Chaitra. With that, let us take a look at the scoreboard. Well, Bharata is still sitting tight in the first place. Joe going up the ladder, and up 7 places, Deepika Jain is the highest climber.
Superb. So simple is another one which was purchase now, pay later sort of a startup. Moving on to the next question about another one. Named among India's top 20 fintech change makers in 2017, identify this co-founder and CEO of Kaleido Fin. Is it Sucharita Mukherjee, Saru Tumuluri, Soma Mondal, or Rupa Kudwa? 9 of you gave the right answer. That is Sucharita Mukherjee. Lot of confusions there with numbers, completely understandable. Yes, this is all, a test of your trivia or knowledge about these amazing women who are making a change in not just the fintech industry, but breaking barriers, breaking glass ceilings, breaking all kinds of ceilings, to be honest, I feel. And getting inspired by these amazing women, let's look at the scoreboard. Ooh, we have Tanuja, who's now back leading the scoreboard. And Harry is the highest climber, up 5 places. Good going there, folks. With that, let's move on to our next question.
Absolutely, I can feel the heat. The game is getting intense. Here is the next question. Founded by Swati Bhargava, what is the apt name of one of India's largest cashback and coupon sites? Is it Go Pesa? Is it Pesa Vapas? Is it Coupon Cactus? Or is it Swag Bucks? So take your guess. It's India's largest cashback and coupon site. One of them. Which one is it? And yes, 10 of you getting it absolutely right. It is Pesa Vapas. And let's take a look at the scoreboard. So no change in the scoreboard. All of you sitting tight at on your spots and just adding some points to your kitty. 6 places up. Vrithi is the highest climber. So congratulations to everyone. Over to Anaka.
Not sure of Paisa Vapas. Let's see if this question will be a Paisa Vasool for all of you. Born and raised in Jaipur, who became the first female tech entrepreneur in her family after launching Myraa? Is it Nidhi Jain, Karishma Desai, Nupur Gupta, or Rashi Agarwal? So, what is this? Born and raised in Jaipur? Less than a second to go. 14 of you gave Nidhi Jain. I think all of you were going by, Anika will give an easy question since it was Myraa. So, it should start with Ni or Ni only. But this is actually Nidhi Gupta who is pictured here, to be honest. Good going there. Great thinking though. So this Myraa is actually based out of Bangalore, and this is a financial institution set up by Nupur Gupta. Let's look at a scoreboard, please. Yes, and there you go. We have Manisha, who's the highest climber, up 5 places. Varada is back to top 1. Looks like there's one very stiff competition between Varada and Tanuja here. Super going, folks. And I think we have Ishak, who has made a debut to top 5. Great job. Moving on to our next question right now.
All right, here's the next question. With which stockbroker, the largest in India, did this platform without the need to code forge a partnership? Pictured here is that platform that we're talking about. Is it Zerodha? Is it Grow? Is it Sher Khan? Or is it Motilal Oswal Financial Services? Right? Less than 5 seconds remaining. Start keying in your answers, everyone. And yes, 7 of you getting it absolutely right. It is Zerodha indeed, the largest stockbroker in India. Moving on, let's take a look at the scoreboard. All right, looks like Ishak has just moved up the scoreboard and up 4 places. Rajendran is the highest climber. Over to Anagha for the next question.
Lovely, lovely. This is going good, folks. Founded by Chetana Pawar, ID, India's first mobile commerce platform for small businesses, solopreneurs, and startups. Right? So, what is this? What is the name of this? Is all that I'm asking. So, this is founded by Chetana Pawar. And this is India's first mobile commerce platform for small businesses, solopreneurs, and startups. The answer was actually Outgo. I understand the confusion with Maxell because the picture was a little bit of a, you thought we would give it away so easily. Don't worry, this was a googly question. I understand that. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. What might have changed? Ooh, there was only one of you who got it right. So no change on the score. At least the top 5, there's not much change. Whoever got that one question right. So good going there. Let's move on to the next one.
Okay, folks, it's time to buckle up. Which fintech platform, the largest free credit score platform in India, was co-founded by her, pictured here, in 2008? Was it Paytm? Was it Bank Bazaar? Was it Cred? Or is it Angel One? Take a good look at the picture shown here. Which fintech platform, the largest free credit score platform in India, was co founded by her in 2008? And yes, looks like we have recovered from the googly question. It is Bank Bazaar. 11 of you getting it absolutely right. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. All right, Varata is not going to give up her first place. Now looks like Joe has entered the top five and up five places. Surya is the highest climber.
Super. Thank you so much for correcting us, Varada. And which one-stop application for college students' financial needs in 2018 was co-founded by Hena Jain Tataya? Right, so something that goes back to students and especially students' financial needs is all that we are asking. Is it Earnest, Credible, Lendkey, or StuCred? So which one is this? Yes, it was StuCred. I think that was a very simple one, right? It was a quick word play on students and credits or financial needs, one-stop application of sorts. So good going, nice creative thinking, all of you. Yes, and Varadarajan is still leading the scoreboard, and Bhavana has now very beautifully come to top five, making a not exactly a debut, but come back to top five. Good going, folks. Keep it up. We have just a few more questions to go. Let's move on to our next question.
Here's the next question. Which company owned by 197 Communications backs this platform that helps lenders to collect overdue payments? This is the logo of the platform that we're talking about. Is it Paytm? Is it PayPal? Is it Venmo? Or is it Stripe? Right? So, which company owned by 197 Communications backs this platform pictured here? And yes, six of you getting it right. It is Paytm, which is absolutely right. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. Okay, Varata is still leading, and Deepika Jain has just entered the top five. Rajendran is making a comeback with three correct answers in a row. Over to Anagha for the next question.
Superb, superb. Which fintech startup co-founded by Lily Lu shares its name with candy-filled containers that get bashed by kids? So this is a specific term that we're speaking about. Image is your major clue. Is it pinata? Is it hobby horse? Is it jungle gym? Or is it duck duck go? So what is this that I'm speaking about? It actually gets its name from candy-filled containers, right? Yes, this is pinata. This is a very classic game that children play, and basically there would be like how it was shown in the media. There, it would be filled up with a lot of candies, and one child would basically tie their eyes and would be blindfolded, and that's how it would go. Deepika Jain is making a comeback with three right answers in a row. That's the spirit, Deepika, and be definitely on fire. There's a lot of score difference between the top two. Tanuja, I think it's time to buckle up and put your best foot forward. Here's our next question.
All right, back from our trip to childhood, here is the next question. Which fintech firm was started by her in 2016 along with Prashant Ranganathan to make credit accessible to everyone? Was it PaySense? Was it Credit B? Was it M Pocket? Or was it MoneyView? So, pictured here is a co founder of a fintech firm, the answer of which we are looking for. Yes, PaySense is the correct answer. Looks like this was again a googly question. All right, let's take a look at the scoreboards. Let's see how this question changes the scoreboard. Yes, Bhavana has gone up the leaderboard and up three places. Charan is the highest climber. So good job, all of you.
Lovely. Keep it up, folks. Last leg of today's quiz. With which payment startup based in San Jose, California, did Saru Tumuluri, CEO of Khosla Labs, who has been pictured here as well, she began her career. So, with which payment startup is all that I'm asking, did Saru actually begin her career? Was it Cyberbills, Verified Digital, Right Career Move, or Nutanix? It was actually Cyberbills. Don't understand exactly the confusion between Verified Digital though, but one of the major clue was based out of San Jose itself and a payment startup. I understand there are multiple, but something that went back with Saru Tumuluri was your major clue. Good going there, folks. Bhavna has now very beautifully risen to top 3. The difference in score between Varada and Tanuja is actually coming down. That's lovely to see. And Manisha is the highest climber, up 3 places. More power to all of you. Let's move on to our next question.
Okay, the game is getting more intense, and here's the next question. The crowdfunding platform Impact Guru, co-founded by Khushbu Jain in 2014, focuses mainly on which of these sectors? Is it healthcare? Is it education? Is it MSME? Or is it cryptocurrency? Right? So take a guess. Less than 2 seconds remaining, everyone. And yes, 7 of you getting it absolutely right. It is healthcare. And you had your clues right there. So let's take a look at the scoreboard. Okay, looks like Ishak has just cruised into top 3 and up 6 places. Daniel is the highest climber. Bharata is not giving up the first position. Over to Anagha for the next question.
Absolutely, Shrija. This is a type answer question, folks. This would be our last question here. The name of which women-only community platform can be arrived at by adding one letter to a synonym for saviors. Okay, so this is a 7-letter answer, right? All that you would have to do is add one letter to the synonym of savior, right? And you will get the answer. If you paid attention, right, if you were completely mentally and physically present in today's webinar, you would definitely be able to answer this question. Well, the answer is actually SHEROES. Let's review the answer. Let's click on review answers, please. Right. I think let's take SHERO, SHEERO. Let's click on SHERO, please. On the yes there. No, let's click on yes. I think we can take that, considering I'm pretty sure it's a spelling mistake only. I think the next bit SIRO is also something that we can consider. What say, Shrija?
Absolutely, and the one next to it also I think we can consider.
Yes, right. So let's hit submit. Super. Yes, we will consider all these answers because, we're looking at learning here and not spellings. Definitely not grammar Nazis. So yes, moving on. Last 2 questions are just to get a little bit of feedback. That's it. So here you go. 1 question for you. Let's click on next, please. Right. A quick poll. How would you rate today's quiz on women in fintech, especially this quiz? Give me a 5 stars if you think, Anagha, this was good. We would like more of these. Give me a 2 stars if you think, no, it wasn't good at all. I have a lot of feedback. If you do have feedback, please do put it on the chat box as well. And I think that's it. Thank you so much for that. And let's see the podium. Shrija, over to you.
Thank you, Anagha. So this is the exciting bit. In the 3rd place, we have Ishak. In the 2nd place, we have Tanuja. And who do we have in the 1st place? We have Bharata. So congratulations to all the winners. Runners up are Bhavana and Michael. Great job, everyone. Such a dramatic quiz we had today.
Totally agree with you, Shrija. Very, very dramatic. And Thank you, entire audience, for being so wonderful today. And hope you all had a wonderful time. Hope you enjoyed today listening to the experiences of women leaders, listening to their stories, listening to their experiences. Maybe gained a lot of ideas as well. Do catch up with all the action at Tether community, right? And that is tether.community. We will share the message on the chat box again. Log on to our website to join us as a member. You can access several exciting events such as this every single month. I think our speakers emphasized a lot on being a part of the community, building community, expressing ourselves in the community. So this is your chance. Make sure that you are part of the community for sure. This was an event by women for women, and we are your hosts, Anagha and
Shrija.
signing off for the day. Have a healthy and safe weekend. It's a wrap. Thank you all.